The Water Department budget hearing. I'm joined by Councilor Majok, Councilor Caldwell, Councilor Nabe, Councilor Paniagua, Councilor Jones-Rouser, and we have the commissioner here. And what is your official title?
Management analyst.
Management analyst. I like that. Okay. So we're going to start with water finance, and I'll let the commissioner start here. 241.
Yeah, first I'm going to start out with just giving a brief overview of the water department.
Okay.
So the financial year of 24 to 25, our key operational accomplishments, we've repaired 207 water main breaks, 124 from January to April, not including leaks, replaced over 200 services, we installed 15 eye hydrants, we screened in Morningside Tank, we've completed Onondaga County's inspection request. We distributed over 6,000 Brita filters. We repaired and replaced Woodland high flow pump, and we installed over 41 new fire hydrants. Our larger projects in progress or completed, we done a PRV pit at Brighton Ave. We repaired the Woodland UV valves. We installed a new 24-inch valve in Syracuse University to give them higher water pressure. We installed a 24-inch crossover main from Lodi to Water Street. We are working on our Brookford Westminster pump station main replacement and pump station replacements. We're working on our Guilford pump station and main replacements. We are kicking off our lead service replacement projects, and we're working on the 81 project. Financial year challenges are filling vacancies. We have 16 vacancies. We're planning on having a job fair on the 29th. Our aging infrastructure and maintenance needs.
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Would you say you have how many vacancies?
16.
16.
Yep.
What's the categories?
Water maintenance, mainly water maintenance workers.
They're not new, they're just regular 16 that you had from previous budget?
Correct. We have a couple positions we've just added that are vacant that we're looking to fill.
So the rest are many years that they've been vacant, or you have a sense of that?
People move around, so they've been vacant, I would say probably the last,
5 years?
I can't answer that. I've only been there a year.
Well, how many
So-
new did you just create then?
We created like 4 new.
Actually, officially, we only created one new title overall in the budget. Yeah, the water maintenance positions, people have retired, have resigned, have went elsewhere. So there's always a few water maintenance worker positions open. But again, with the job fair, we're hopeful to have them filled very soon.
So you're saying there's one new title change, but there's 16 vacancies and none of these, but you got new positions added.
Majority of the vacancies are all pre-existing positions that we just haven't been able to fill over the last couple of years.
4 years, okay.
Okay, just for clarity, Commissioner, so there's 16 open positions that you could use as, what are they, mostly labor positions or what?
Correct.
Okay. And one of the things that the public isn't aware is the water, reserve fund pays for that as opposed to the city's general fund.
Right.
So it's a separate entity almost.
It is.
But, we work under the restrictions of labor agreements with the city, so.
And before you go on, because I know you got your thing, for these positions, are they civil service or these are just?
They're not entry level, there's some skilled labor that has to be involved in it.
Okay.
Requirements, but majority of them are either CDL drivers or basic construction workers.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner, how many do you have that are licensed plumbers?
We have 2 licensed plumbers with the city of Syracuse.
Okay. And they're also on
In the
call?
water department.
In the water department, okay.
They're filled. We have no vacancies for that.
Okay.
Some of our challenges are environmental and regulation compliance, with the new LRC rules. We're working with community engagement and public awareness. We have some upcoming projects. We have the Mosley Pump Station project, Sealy Road main replacement, Forest Hill Drive main replacement, lead service replacements, 2,900 or more. We're looking to replace the Comstock Pump Station. We're installation of chlorine gas emergency shutoffs out at the lake. Curtis Ave, new main addition to hopefully give more water flow to the Gilbert Ave area. Bose Gatehouse valve replacement, and we're looking to install new auto flushers throughout the city. Them are some of our bigger projects coming up this year. So that is just a little briefing on the water department, where we're at.
How many employees do you have?
There's 90 with the water department.
90. Thank you.
So two quick questions. So you said you replaced 271 main break, water main break, yeah. So what's the skill requirement for that? Is that in a house or do you contract it out?
That main breaks are all in-house
Oh,
repairs.
all in-house?
Yep.
Okay.
You have to have some outdoor construction experience. Our water maintenance worker twos, you'd have to have worked in the water department for a couple years to get more knowledge on the water system. For our water ones, the requirement is that you had to have at least 2 years of outdoor construction experience or 1 year underground utility work experience, which could be sewers, gas.
There's no education requirement beyond high school diploma, right?
There is not.
Okay. What about, you talked about it, Onondaga County inspection. What was that?
So every year we get an inspection. Every year they send us a review of things that we need to maintain and repair. And last year we went down that whole list. And we checked off just about every box.
Remind me, how many filters did you distribute again?
Over 6,000.
6,000.
We just delivered 100 more today to the Lead Coalition,
Okay.
So Commissioner, would you say, would,
the filters.
sure.
Here, you can use mine.
All right, so I've been getting some complaints about the Brita filter, and I was taken back because when you guys came in front of us and you said that you would be doing Brita filters, I guess that's not very specific, and I thought you were doing the sink attachments, and now I'm getting complaints that they're a pitcher.
Right.
And that's, I guess I would call that a pitcher. And so the complaints are that they're just 3 gallons, and for people with larger families, they have to fill that up multiple times a day, and it's a waste. They fill. Why did we go with a pitcher versus a sink attachment?
So for a sink attachment, you would need a licensed plumber to install. There's so many different forms, but that's not true. There's so many forms of sinks nowadays. You got the ones that pull down and spray. There's half of the sinks they wouldn't even attach to. A lot of the new filters that are coming out would attach under your sink, and you would need a plumber to install them. So that's why we went with the form of a pitcher, because it could be used by everybody.
Okay, so if we went with the pitcher, then why did we go with the smallest one possible?
We went with the one that was EPA approved, that removed 99% of any lead lead traces. And it's mainly for drinking water.
So do you recommend if people have larger families that they get a second one? I'm just trying to fill out the complaints that I'm getting.
I mean,
I know this is not the place,
So-
that this is
so-
budget, but I needed to get this done.
so if I get a drink out of my sink, I'm drinking tap water.
Yep.
So if I pour a pitcher of water and it runs out, I'll just fill it in the sink and pour it through the filter again. So it isn't like, we're not giving it
Well-
to you so you could have cold water
Well,
to
I
drink.
guess the main concern with that is that, there's a possibility that the adult is filling the pitcher, and if the adult isn't there, that pitcher runs out, the kids are still drinking from the faucet. So that's weigh all the options.
Yeah, I mean, we were very proactive in giving the filters out. We weren't required to give any filters out by the EPA or the Department of Health. We gave them out as being proactive to, ease the concerns of the public. Our drinking water is safe. You run your cold water for a while, our drinking water is safe. We have some of the purest water in the country. We gave out like I said, the filters to be proactive and to, release the stress of the public. That's what, we decided on. That way everyone could utilize them. We weren't giving out things that had to screw onto sinks or screw under sinks or, try to give something that everyone could use.
Okay,
What-
we can
what was-
talk about that
What was the
further.
cost to the city per the filter that EPA recommended versus the filter that would have required a plumber to put it in?
The pitchers were cheaper than the sink attachments, I believe. I believe they're more, I think we paid $30-something a pitcher. I believe the attachments are more than that. I can't give you a 100% answer, but I believe they're more expensive for
Did we pay or
You
did
got
the
them
county
at
pay?
bulk? And those are at bulk, because they're cheaper than $30, just if I went to the store.
Well,
and
there's
bought it.
different types. So we bought the lead, the one that reduces, they're made for lead.
And
Okay.
that's with a replacement filter also.
Right.
An extra filter with it.
And the county had went in on us with it. They paid for the first round, they paid for, helped contribute to paying for them.
I don't want to take up the whole budget meeting with this.
Yeah.
We can
Maybe
come
It's
we
back.
should talk to
good questions. It's
council.
good questions.
It's related.
It's really related, so it's good questions.
Commissioner, I really appreciated the reports you've been giving the council every week on our issue as far as water goes. Ancillary to that, and we might as well bring it up now, are you working with maybe the engineering department regarding sort of assessing, and I think we briefly talked about it, assessing the leakage that we have in the system?
So
I think we talked about it the other day. You were using maybe some of the API people or somebody like that.
right,
Yeah.
we've had New Air come out and help us, because the only way to find the leaks is by sensors and visual.
Okay.
So we've visually inspected a lot of the leaks down our conduit. I've had crews out there for the last month repairing leaks on the conduit. That's water getting into the city. We have American Leak Detection still working with us. They're going out every day locating, we're not having breaks anymore. They're finding leaks, like on services, a lot smaller leaks.
This always puzzled me under the previous administration, they talked about leaks versus breaks. What determines what's a leak and what's a break?
So I would say a leak is the loss of minimal amount of water, like
Small amount of
a
water
break
versus a large?
is a main.
Yeah.
A water main that breaks and causes disruption to the roads, to the, public water outage. That would be a water main break.
I'd like to see at some point, some way of measuring how much leakage we have from Skinny Atlas to the city. Because that's
well-
when we lose the most water, correct?
Right, so it's hard for us in the city to, we know how much water we sell,
Right.
but we don't meter a lot of the water that is used for other things. As, we do hydrant permits, they pay a one-time fee, they get a hydrant permit. What they use for water is what they use for water. Fires, we don't meter fire hydrants, we don't meter fire services. So that's a lot of water goes into them things that are unmetered. So we don't know what we're actually using compared to losing.
But there were estimates that talked about the amount of water we lose from Skinny Atlas to the city. Obviously, is there other people that use that water as it transverses to the city?
So there is.
There is, somebody
but we
else
meter
pulls
them.
water out of it, right?
So we meter,
So we are aware of what they're taking.
we are. That would be Skinny Atlas and Elbridge. Elbridge sells water to Jordan, and, because they use their, UV system and stuff.
Okay.
And we have 45 services off our conduit that
So-
are metered services.
So we know what water goes out.
Right.
And we still are determinant that there is water leaking from Skaneateles to.
Correct. And over the last few weeks, we have found numerous amount of leaks, and we're repairing every one of them.
Okay.
And our water has climbed, I would say, in the last 3 weeks of repairs, we're bringing in like $1.4 million, million gallons a day more than we were before we repaired them.
Wow. So okay, that's amazing. that
So
you're
we're
really
going to
address it.
continue on. We're building, when we fill these positions, our plan is to build a team that works on the conduit, and that's what they do. They find leaks and they repair them.
So you have 0 for the leak detection technician. Did that move to a new title?
So, the previous commissioner created this position. There is no county job specs for a leak detection person. After talking with Aqua, our underground utility locators, which we just created a new one, they are responsible for leak detection. It's in their job specs. So, and that's what Aqua does. They have their underground utility locators do leak detection as well. And that's why we're adding one onto it with the lead, plus with the lead service program, and there's a lot of locating with all the contractors in the city right now. So we're adding one more, and we possibly may create and abolish another position, add another one for demand.
You guys are using a drone, some type of drone?
Correct.
What is that?
We have New Air, it's called New Air. They have been doing drone work for us. They come in and they're doing thermal imaging of our conduit and helping us pinpoint where leaks are that we may not be able to get to. We'll be able to get to them to repair them, but we don't want to go bulldozing through the woods if there's nothing there. So once they locate them, we've been sending manpower out with them. Some of our engineers have been working with them and determining if it's a leak or not. And then we send people out there to visually check it afterwards.
Is that something we own or subcontract? The new
I believe, we haven't got a bill, so I believe New Air is a non-for-profit, and they're doing it. They're just working with us, correct? I believe they're with the state, something to do with the state.
Commissioner, have you quantified how much it costs to do leakage repair and the water main together? Say for the year 2024 to 2025, what has that cost us?
I can't tell you that offhand, but I could get you that number.
Okay.
We have City Works now that kind of keeps track of our costs for, how much a main break costs per man hours, per material, how much we're spending on that.
Okay, when you go look at that and you are going to send it to us, could you also compare this, fiscal year to the last as well, to just see where we are with them?
Yeah, I could, and a lot of it, is how much we have entered into the City Works program. We're still working on that, trying to get our employees on board with implementing that. A lot of them are very good at it. Some of them aren't too, they just don't have the computer savviness, but they're learning it to get all these numbers.
But IPS was there prior, they used it, right?
Right.
That can be abstracted from IPS,
We'll get you the numbers.
So perhaps you're going to have like some sort of training programs, continuous training programs for
And
some
we
of the
do.
people
Yep.
as they come in?
And we're working on that now. We have a company coming in to give us some more training, I think next week.
So I think a strategic plan, I think the council would be comfortable with between maybe yourself and engineering regarding that we don't have the same situation we had over the last couple of months. I mean, has that been talked about? I don't know, Connor, you want to weigh in on this, or is there a plan, maybe the commissioner?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so as Commissioner Brandt mentioned, we are working with company NV5 to implement.
Now, wait, or this company, NB5 is a contracted company that we're out of the water department, or what?
Both water and parks right now, and looking to expand to DPW.
Are they, so we've already entered in a contract with them?
That's correct.
And that's already went through this body, right?
It went through a state contract.
Oh, the state contract. It
Yep.
didn't have to be approved by us or what? The city
No,
council?
when you piggyback off of a contract through another municipality in New York State that already ensures compliance with procurement rules for competitive bids.
When you say piggyback, what do you mean by that?
That's saying that the entities work with New York State to provide their competitive terms on a like hourly rate basis, and that provides the information for how the city can enter into an agreement with an entity like that.
So even though this doesn't cost the city anything, obviously, because
No,
we-
it does. It does cost the city.
Well, I don't remember us, did we approve that
So,
contract?
so there are multiple ways that the city can enter into an agreement with a vendor, right? So the primary way, and it's done almost entirely, is with going through the council. There are also other methods to enter into a contract by piggybacking, is the colloquial term, where an entity provides their rates to New York State, and the state approves that as the competitive bidding process.
Where's the money coming from, though?
The money for
We
the
already
NV5 is from the
had
water department.
the money, our previous person that was working with us on the City Works was GHD. We ended the contract with them because we felt that we needed more of a software company to work with us, and that's where we got involved with.
Yeah, Commissioner, obviously that's great. I'm glad you're following this path, but I'm a little nervous that we weren't aware of it and we didn't have to approve the funding for it.
Well, we've
But
been
you're
speaking
saying
with
it worked.
Councilor Williams about the NV5 contract for parks that's been held up since November or so, and we've spoken about that at leadership a bit as well.
Run that by me again, Conrad.
Yeah, so-
Counselor Williams.
That's correct.
Yeah, but we didn't, as a body, didn't vote on this. I don't remember any.
So you went ahead and spent the money without us voting on it, or?
So there are ways, unless the clerk would like to jump in here to provide an additional perspective. No? Okay. All right. So there are ways for the municipality to enter into an agreement with a vendor through the terms of a state contract, right? I would need someone from...
Listen,
there we go.
Yeah, but we
We're just
still
trying to
should have.
understand the process here, how we,
Actually, some of the confusion,
yeah.
I think for some of the confusion that's coming is you're saying bring into an agreement, which is something that we usually go to council for. What they're doing is they're using already on a contract issue purchase water.
Okay, so they're always under a contract with us. It probably went through this body then, correct?
No, because they're on a contract. Anything that's on contract, you can enter a purchase order in PeopleSoft and it gets sent to the county and they fulfill it.
Then where did the money come from? Because
From their-
I think the
Their
part year.
operating account or capital account,
Okay.
wherever the money is budgeted.
Okay, at some point, maybe an email explaining this to the city council, how this sort of circular path went as far as financing this. I'm not objecting to it if there's a solution to the issues we had or it's part of the strategic plan, but I certainly would like to find out how that came about.
Okay.
Okay?
Can you just answer this last question for me? Did it come out of the actual city budget, or is this coming out of something else?
This is, we work, this is out of the Water Reserve Fund, I imagine, right?
Out of whatever water operating
Yeah, it's-
account that
yeah.
they
It's out of the
had
water
it
reserve
budgeted.
fund.
It's separate from
Yeah,
the
but we
the
still-
general fund. I mean, I certainly, with all the issues that are related to what we've gone through as a team together with the council and the city administration, I certainly would have liked to known about this before, and I think it'd probably be something that we would probably have approved, but.
Absolutely, Councilor, I understand. Just to confirm, I know I see Nader here commenting as well. This is a procurement path that is a common practice.
It's a
Right, and it-
common practice, it was a common practice, nothing's common now about what we've gone through as far as the water department goes, I would submit. So, go on, I mean, so there is some sort of strategic plan
There is. So thinking about the efforts to improve our the use of our existing asset management infrastructure system, right? CityWorks is what the city uses as that system. We're working with that vendor to provide additional training on the administration side, make sure that we're have the understanding of how to best utilize that system, and working to align with some of the other efforts that are ongoing, or actually just recently completed in the Parks Department. And our intention is to expand those efforts into DPW.
And if you could keep us aware of that, maybe in like similar like reports, so we, like I said, I think there should be a plan that we're aware of in place.
Absolutely.
You said this is the same one that you're using for the Parks Department?
That's correct.
So as far as not getting into the situation that we got into this year with, water main breaks and stuff like that, we are installing more sensors and eye hydrants that will alert us a lot sooner. But as far as having someone come in and predict the future of our system, I've reached out to other municipalities. They've all had the same problem this year, with water main breaks and water loss. There's really nothing we could do in advance besides sounding, sensors, find the leaks while they're smaller, repair them. As far as hiring an engineering company they wouldn't be able to tell us what's going to break next year or not.
Well, I think it'd be a way to plan for capital improvements all the way along the line. I mean, how old are some of our pipes and everything?
100 years old.
That's what I mean. I mean, obviously, if this contract that we have would be a situation where we could plan strategically how to replace pipe after pipe after
And
pipe.
we have a general contract with EDR right now that does our general services.
Right.
And they've, planned some stuff for us, main replacements and stuff. We're going ahead, like I said, this year, on the streets that we have, have had numerous amount of breaks. We're moving forward to replace them right away. Sealy, Forest Hill, them are streets that are, we're getting 3-4 breaks a winter on them. So we're moving forward to replace them mains this year.
How often, if one breaks, do you find it breaking right back, the same one, or no?
Different areas, Sealy, like I said, Sealy Hill, Sealy Road, numerous amount of breaks. Main's in really bad shape, I think, because of the hill that it's on. Forest Hill, the piping is combination pipe. It was made during the war, so it's like a mixture of material that, made the pipe. It's hard to repair, and it's not very durable. So we're going to go in hopefully this season and replace that water main.
The commissioner makes the same thing I say. During the war, we always, that was 80 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
World War II.
Right, that's when, Forest Hill was put in.
Well, Commissioner, so do we seem to have a lot of problems on higher elevations, whether it's up on Forest Hill Drive, Sealy Road,
Well-
Gilbert High Street?
Well, we don't have pressure issues on Forest Hill or
Okay,
Sealy.
but we do have some problems on higher elevations,
Well,
do we?
There's pressure
that's what we have,
Pressure.
that's we have, pumping stations.
Right.
The Gilbert Ave area,
Yeah,
I'm really trying to figure that out. We're working on that with our engineering
East
firm.
Division, I know.
That
and
little
then-
area right there, we think we might have to move them into a different pressure district. But now that our elevations are climbing in our reservoirs, their pressure has been a little, better over there in them neighborhoods. We reach out to them all the time. We're in constant contact.
I had a call last week about Carbon Street, the pressure going a little low, a little high, it's going to be common this year.
So people hear pressure things, and now it's in their heads. Not saying that there's not pressure.
No.
We had a person today, we went to the residence, they said they didn't have pressure, they had 30 pounds of pressure. They're like, I think we used to have 40. I'm like, well, 30 pounds is pretty good pressure in your home. And they're like, well, I think we used to have 40. So just a lot of factors. But we usually go by when we have a high volume of calls. We have a neighborhood that calls, 3-4 calls. Hey, I have low pressure area. And if we have like one call and the surrounding neighbors don't have pressure issues, Sometimes it's internal, it could be a clock screen on their meter, it could be a lot of factors that play into it,
Sure, maybe, could they, customers buy a tool at a hardware store?
so.
Now they can know for sure what the water pressure is.
What's the lead service replacements, 30? What is that? The 245. Yes.
These are permits.
Oh,
that- Permits that
Oh, okay, okay.
residents are pulling to do their service replacements.
Okay, okay, all right. I had another question, but I gotta find it. It's on another page. Rashida, you had something?
Go ahead, Counselor.
I was on, page 260, oh my gosh. So, right now, for the number of positions, there's 71, and the grand total is gonna be 82, so those are the ones that you gotta fill, right?
No, I think that's from the top there, Counselor. See, they got 11 on the top page. Is that, I'm correct, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So that's from the 11 from the previous page? Okay, thank you.
On page 250, the salaries from 25 to 26, is this a typo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the same thing, actually. Yeah.
Should be 65, right?
Where's that other page at? Oh, I lost my other question, so.
Yeah, they just asked about that. That was a typo.
It's a typo. It's 65. Will be 65.
Correct. Correct. Where's that at?
That's in page 350, line 1500, 541500. Professional services.
Yep. Water management, 250, right here. Professional services, 27,800.
Oh, absolutely. That's what was actually just voted on today, the risk management.
Risk management,
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
yep.
We didn't vote today, though.
Well, it was-
Study session review today.
yeah.
So 245, the lead service replacement, is there a way we can, 245 under issuance of water service permits? The lead service replacement, we did about 30. Is there a way we can see the map of where those were replaced? It's about 30 of them, right?
Oh, for
Am I reading that
2024?
correctly?
For 24, 25, they did 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I can have a map generated
Can
where
we
the
have that?
private, the people did their
This
service.
is private, these were the private ones.
These are private ones?
This isn't
This is
us
not-
doing this.
Oh,
This is
okay.
someone pulled a permit, they wanted to do it themselves.
Okay, okay.
So how many,
thought it was
how
us.
many do you anticipate doing this year?
In this fiscal year,
How many fiscal year?
2,900.
Okay.
That's why I was like, why is it saying 30? So
2,900. That's what our goal is. That's all based on, the contractors we can get into the city.
Capacity.
Yep, we're gonna bid them out and smaller bids to try to bring in the local guys.
Right.
The more the merrier to try
So
to
how-
get this project underway. Because we're looking at, we're trying, we're thinking we're kind of ahead of the game. So if we can get them into the city and keep them in the city working for our long-term strategy, because 2027, everybody's going to be looking for contractors.
And you're going to have performance provisions in the contracts? Do we have that? Have we
They-
drawn that up?
yep,
So
there
they
will
make
be.
sure that they do it?
Yep.
Okay, that's excellent.
So with the 2,900 as well, how do you determine, is it by census tract? How do you determine what need to be replaced?
So this round to kick off our lead replacement program, we went to, in 2005, 6, and 7, we replaced all the public side water lead service lines for 2,900 homes throughout the city. So now we're going back in and replacing all the private side to them same homes. So half of the service has already been done in 05, 06, 07. Now we're going in doing all the private sides. So them 2,900 homes will be lead-free, lead service line free. And while we build our bigger plan that involves more infrastructure, road repair, sidewalk repair. So as we build that plan and try to work with our road recon so we can work ahead of them, we have a plan to kick off to get workers into the city, get them replacing lead service lines, and utilize the grant that we are giving from the EFC.
So road recon is one of the qualifiers to see where to start?
Right.
The
we're
road
gonna-
recon schedule?
We're going to, for our next round, after we do these 2,900, that's what we're going to work with the equality scores and all different things to where we're going to start these projects, doing full service replacements throughout the city. Because we have an estimate between 14,000 known to up to 30,000, because we have 16,000 unknown. That's part of the contract we just got into with GHD. They're going to help us with the lead service line investigations, doing our inventory, so we know what is what.
Okay.
We have a good plan. We're ready to get rolling, and,
And just because we're about to wrap up, you alluded to the fact that earlier that we're going to be running out of water, or at least there's going to be an issue with contractors come 2027.
well, we're hoping not. That's why we're looking to draw them into the city now.
Okay.
And once we have them working for us, we're hoping to keep them working for us.
Okay, so
You know-
so what about in terms of, assume that, other municipalities are, looking in the same direction,
Which they're
with-
going to be.
right? Which is going to be. What's our internal strategy, at least to mitigate that?
To draw them in, to keep them here.
Keep them here, but at the same time, maybe expand our own internal house in a sense. What does it take to at least venture off rather than just looking at the same pool of people? What would it take for us?
For us to build our own lead replacement team?
Yeah.
Within,
Something like that.
I'm having a hard time filling the positions to get.
We only got
just-
60, we're 16
just to-
openings now.
Just to
It's
get,
gonna be-
just to get workers to fix main repairs and do the maintenance of our system, let alone, larger scale projects.
So you are looking for, let me say it this way, you are looking for employees basically, and you can't find them because of the skills level, right?
And I wouldn't say just the skilled stuff. We have a
Okay.
lot of obstacles in the city, residency, rate of pay, CDL drivers. Now that, New York State has legalized marijuana, we have trouble because we're still federally mandated to test CDL drivers. So we have a lot of obstacles as a city of Syracuse drawing in employees. So what we try to do is give myself and my team, we had changed the job specs for a water maintenance worker one. It was used to be impossible to get into the city of Syracuse as a water maintenance worker one. unless you had water maintenance, water main experience. We've changed them job specs to give it to a little bit more of an entry level. And we're willing to train and build these employees up from the ground up. So we're hoping to get more people in from changing them job specs with the county, with the county.
Okay, so remove the residency, right? How does the county, for example, deal with that issue? Assume that residency was not a factor.
Was the county dealing with that
How
issue?
is, yes.
They have this similar problems with hiring right now. I think it's national. Getting the workers back into the blue collar work field. Technology was big for a while. A lot of kids, younger adults went into that direction. Now we're trying to draw them back into the construction side of things. Takes time, but I believe we can do it. Like I said, we're having this job fair and we're gonna open it up to the public. We had a plan, we bid all the bids out amongst all our departments, so when we have these jobs fair, we'll be able to hire off this, at the job fair, by, long as they pass what they have to become employed with the city. But we're looking to give them chances. We're looking to build it up. And it ain't just the water department, it's the Department of Public Works, it's the Parks Department. Spoke to private contractors are having trouble finding workers. We just got to find a reason to get them here. We're a second
It's like a
chance city.
Christmas Eve and it's 10 degrees below zero and you're trying to replace a water main break. It doesn't seem like that's
Right.
an attractive job for a lot of folks nowadays, I mean,
Tier 6, Tier 6 don't help, the tier system. When it was Tier 3, 4, used to come to work, young man here, and think, man, I can retire at 55, 30 years. That sounds great.
Right.
That's gone. So a lot of things that brought people into the municipality field have been taken away. So now we have to think of other ways to draw them in.
So if quickly we could just ask, and I appreciate Councilor Majak's questions, but revenue, what do we take in a year as far as water?
We're right on track to meet our goal of
$23 million, and that goes in the water reserve. And I don't know, would you be as far as our bonding goes, do we have one bond that we go out to, like I noticed that's $5 million?
Debt service?
Yes.
Right. That's to pay for all of our previous bonds over the years. Right.
Oh, so you combined them all? How'd that work, Mike?
That's-
Yeah? You combined them all into one, so we're playing on just one bond now? Is that how it worked? Just as far as the revenue side goes.
Mike Kinnizer, Commissioner of Finance. So the debt service would be for all the bonds previously issued, so that's going to be kind of a payment that's spread out throughout the year. It's not like there's just one $5 million payment. You'll have $1 million payment in November, then you'll have another, couple $1 million in May, and then interest payments throughout the year.
So an outstanding $5 million we have?
No, it would be larger than that. I don't have the specific number memorized. I think water outstanding debt somewhere in the $25 to $30 million range right now.
Okay.
But really, that would be the debt service just for fiscal year '26.
Yeah, we just so the debt service is how much? On a yearly, like
$5 million.
$5 million,
Yeah.
right? Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I got a little confused on that.
Thank you, Mary. So right now.
Good job, Mary.
What page is that?
So what did I say? The
27.
268. So right now, the principal we'll be paying in fiscal year '26 is just over $4 million, and the interest payments are $1,151,000. So again, that 5.2 million figure I think is the water debt service, and that's a total of 13 bonds.
Okay.
We don't issue a bond every year for water. I think historically these have been some of the larger lead service replacement projects, like $4 million. Does that jive? Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously with $24 million in revenue, $22 million in revenue, that's.
And the
pretty
total
solid.
outstanding debt plan for the end of fiscal year '26 is just over $36 million.
Okay. Okay. That gets the revenue stuff. Anybody else got any questions? Commissioner, thank you. You know, you've done a great job since you take over. You've had tough times, but you're addressing the issues, and I appreciate your efforts and your staff's efforts.
I have a great team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Sure. So move.
Second.